Traditionally, modernism is thought of as a European and American phenomenon, so we tend to associate it with figures like the artist Pablo Picasso or writers like T.S. Eliot and James Joyce. But what we found in our research is there's actually a number of South African writers who are also producing modernist literature, but they're just not as well known because they're doing so from the kind of colonial peripheries or from the margins rather than the metropolitan centres. So what that means is that students who are studying, for example, the English Literature A-level, tend to read literature produced by white, male, European, heterosexual writers. They're not reading or always reading literature in a kind of wider global purview. And this is a problem, not only because students aren't seeing their own experiences reflected in the literature that they read, but also it's important for students to read outside of what they know, to embrace the broader horizons that literature offers. Literature is about cultivating empathy, about cultivating imagination, about imagining yourselves in someone else's shoes, and reading more widely allows them to do that. We're currently working with 16 to 18-year-old learners and their teachers, primarily in the UK, but also elsewhere in the world, to support them to introduce South African literatures, decolonising and post-colonial theories and methods into the study of English literature. In this way, they're broadening their reading horizons, but they're still getting support to succeed in the assessments that they have to do, like the English Literature A-level. Some of the problems that teachers and in fact exam boards face is that they don't feel they have the time or the money to actually be able to introduce more diverse literature into curricula. So we're working with students all over the world, but particularly 16 colleges in the Greater Manchester and Merseyside areas. And what we do with those students is we create workshops where they design their own visual texts inspired by South African modernist literature and art. They create podcasts, they create video essays and TikToks. And then we put that user-generated content on our website so that they themselves can disseminate the work that they're doing on South African literatures and cultures. Some of the changes and benefits for teachers is that they're starting to feel empowered to introduce literature into the classroom that before they'd be worried about maybe getting wrong or that they hadn't had the training themselves in before. So they're feeling more empowered to do that. And also they're telling us that their students are changing what they write about. So at one of the colleges, 3 students wrote about post-colonial topics for the first time when no one had ever previously chosen that topic. So we're really, really pleased to see that our research is having these positive impacts for students and for teachers. It starts in Salford, a place where ideas are formed that shape the world.